Chapter 13 of the Return of the Noldor. The Last Days of Fëanor. As Fëanor and his sons came to Middle-earth, they burned the ships at Losgar. Unbeknownst to them, this scene drew the attention of the servants of Morgoth. The hosts of Fëanor passed into Hithlum and made their dwelling in Mithrim. However, suddenly the servants of Morgoth attacked the Noldor at their encampment. This was the second battle in the Wars of Beleriand, called the Dagor-nuin-Giliath. The Noldor, in this case, were victorious. Now driven mad in wrath, Fëanor believed that he could take on Morgoth himself. He rushed ahead of his hosts, and so found himself alone, surrounded by the servants of Morgoth. He then was smitten to the ground by Gothmog, lord of Balrogs. His sons carried him back towards Mithrim, but he died along the way. His body fell to ash as his fiery spirit left him. The Noldor in Beleriand. The Noldor met the Grey Elves in Beleriand, and were glad to see one another, but their speech had been sundered, so it was difficult for them to communicate at first. An embassy came to the sons of Fëanor from Morgoth, feigning defeat. Maedhros agreed to meet with Morgoth's ambassadors in bad faith, and he was taken hostage by Morgoth. Morgoth demanded that the Noldor forsake their war against him and depart Beleriand. Bound by their oath, the sons of Fëanor were unable to agree. They also knew that Morgoth would not give them Maedhros either way. So Maedhros was taken and hanged by the wrist from a precipice upon Thangorodrim. Eventually, the kindred of Fingolfin arrived in Middle-earth and came to Mithrim as the sun was rising for the very first time. They settled in Hithlum, by the shores of Lake Mithrim. The people of Fingolfin and Finrod had no love for the people of Fëanor, as they had just been abandoned by them and subject to years of difficulty and struggle. The people of Fingolfin and Finrod had no love for the people of Fëanor, and they consistently worked against each other. Fingon rescues Maedhros. Fingon resolved to heal the feud between the Noldor by rescuing Maedhros. When Fingon found him, Maedhros begged Fingon to kill him because he was unable to get down, and they saw no other option. Feeling like he had no other option, Fingon prepared an arrow and begged Manwë to have pity on the Noldor. At this moment, Thorondor the eagle came at the bidding of Manwë and carried Fingon to the rock where Maedhros was held. He was unable to free his hand, so Fingon cut off Maedhros' hand above the wrist, and Thorondor bore them back to Mithrim. This heroic deed healed much of the hurt between the two groups of the Noldor, but not all. Unrest among the Eldar in Beleriand. Fingolfin was then king of the Noldor, but not everyone accepted him in their hearts. At the same time, King Thingol was hesitant to welcome the Noldor in Beleriand, and only those of the house of Finarfin were allowed into Doriath because they could claim kinship with Thingol, since their mother was Eärwen, daughter of Olwe. Angrod, son of Finarfin, was the first of the exiles to come to Menegroth, and he spoke to the king. In this time he did not tell them about the kinslaying, because he thought that all was healed and forgiven. Thingol still would not allow anyone into Doriath unless they were his guest or sought him in great need, which angered the sons of Fëanor. Now in this time, the kin of Caranthir met the dwarves, and while their friendship was not very great, they did profit from each other. After about 20 years, Fingolfin made a great feast called Mereth Aderthad, the Feast of Reuniting. Elves from many regions came, and long years of peace came after that, about 30 years of peace. Dreams from Ulmo. Turgon, son of Fingolfin, and Finrod went on a journey and slept on the banks of the river Sirion. There, Ulmo gave to them dreams, though they did not tell one another about these dreams. Because of these dreams, they felt that they should prepare for a day of evil and establish a retreat. There came a time when Finrod and Galadriel were guests of Thingol in Doriath. Galadriel stayed in Doriath in part because she loved Celeborn. Finrod told Thingol about his dreams, and Thingol told him about the deep gorge in the river Nalrog and the caves under the high Farath. Finrod came to the caverns of Nalrog and began to delve mansions, and called this place Nargothrond. He commissioned the dwarves to help with this. The dwarves also made the Nauglamir in this time, the necklace of the dwarves. It is also in this time that Finrod was renamed Felagund, hewer of caves. Now Turgon, guided by Ulmo, discovered the hidden vale of Tumladen and began plans to build a city there. The Dagor-Aglareb, the glorious battle. Morgoth sent earthquakes and orcs from the north. This was the third great battle of the Wars of Beleriand, the Dagor-Aglareb, the glorious battle. In this battle, the elves were victorious, but they were also much more cautious and watchful afterwards. Nearly 100 years passed after this battle, and Morgoth sent forth an army to the Firth of Drengist. But Fingon drove most of these orcs into the sea, and after that there was yet again peace for many years. Morgoth realized that orcs alone could not defeat the Noldor, and so after about another 100 years, Glaurung, the first of the Uraloki, the fire drakes, the dragons of the north, came forth from Angband. However, Glaurung was not yet full grown and did not have his full strength, and so Fingon was able to push him back and he retreated. There was then peace for about 200 more years, and the elves continued to prosper. In our next video, we will discuss Chapter 14 of Beleriand and its realms. This video is a part of our Silmarillion guide series, which offers a quick and easy to understand introduction to the events, characters, and world of the Silmarillion. This guide is also available as a free ebook, which can be downloaded at teawithtolkien.com/shop. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing or telling a friend about Tea with Tolkien.